Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third episode here on the Do Something podcast. Before we get started, we want to let you know that we're currently in the process of producing new episodes for everyone. And to stay up to date when our newest episodes are releasing, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. Also, follow us on Instagram at dosomething.podcast for all the latest information. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of knowing yourself and referencing a book called Tao Te Ching. We hope that this episode inspires you to do something. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, so to start off, one of my favorite ones, I have a bunch because they're very interesting. One of my favorite ones is paragraph 33. I don't know quite how it's structured, but 33 is the number. And I'll just read it out for you guys now. Knowing things makes you smart, but knowing yourself makes you wise. To rule others, you must be powerful, but to rule yourself, you must be strong. So, I guess let's devour that. So, I mean, when I first read this, I didn't know how I was thinking a lot of things, but I think what I really took from this is the importance of knowing yourself, because I feel like it's just very underrated. I feel like people talk about being better and striving for goals, but I feel like often a lot of the things that we need to work on are within ourselves.
Yeah.
I guess knowing yourself better and working on yourself, becoming a better person. And I think in the long run that helps everyone else. So I don't know. I just think knowing yourself is very important, and it's not like that's ever going to be a certain stage, because it's not like you're just going to hit a point. You might hit a point where you feel like you completely know who you are, your drive, what you're here for. But the thing is, I feel like that's very temporary because, as you know, we constantly change.
Yeah.
And so a lot of things happen in life. So obviously, you as a person is dynamic. It's not... it doesn't stay the same. You don't just know yourself and then that's it. You accomplish it. Yeah, exactly. It's like a continuous thing. And yeah, what do you think about knowing?
And also that one paragraph was being a leader. And there,
to rule others, you must be powerful. To rule yourself,
exactly.
You must be strong.
That one for me is that gives a lot of insight in what it means to be a leader and leadership
it's inner
as well.
strength, and it's not necessarily. I mean, exactly like they said, it's not necessarily power. I mean, power will get you that position, but that doesn't mean you're a good leader in any means.
Yeah, 100%.
In any way. So.
Yeah, and one thing is the best leaders I've always encountered in my life, whether that's a teacher, friends, role models, whatever it is, those are the people who aren't pushy. They aren't the people who are oh, do this or do that, or they're literally the people who care for you and motivate you to do something, to do the task that they accomplish or something. Yeah, do something. So that's why it's so important to for a leader or someone who's striving to become a leader, which I think everyone should. I think that's such a big and important deal as in knowing yourself. Once you know yourself, you can also help guide others about knowing yourself as well. But like you said, you'll never get to a point where you'll completely and fully understand who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we're dynamic. We're we always evolve. We change.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a good foundation, or at least you haven't you understand the changes that are going on, I think that's might be one of the most important parts too.
And I mean, technically, we are always changing, but there all are things that we can hold on to, like our character or our beliefs or our values and morals. Those things, obviously, I mean, they can change, but I feel like those are more rooted to who you are, more
that's the
base.
Foundational piece.
Exactly. But again, knowing yourself is a lot broader than just that. It's, I mean, you yourself. Okay, this is different. I saw this thing. How would you describe yourself right now?
Me. Okay.
Okay. Without without the stereotypical oh, I'm explain yourself in relation to other people, oh, I go to see you, or oh, I'm studying this, or how would you describe who you are?
before you ask me that question, I'm gonna toss that right back to you so I know how to answer it.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I had the answer, man, like, I could sell the answer for so much because I felt like this is everyone's trying to search for this.
Here's the thing.
Right way.
Often when you say like one of those types of questions to somebody,
yeah,
I feel like oftentimes it's like what you say is usually where you hope to be. It's not exactly where you are right now.
That
like if
can be
you
true.
were about to tell somebody who are you right now, you'd probably say like the best quality features of like yourself, but that they usually in my experience like they're not true. I mean that's where I hope to be, but I'm not 100% like what that is like
that's
at the moment.
true, and I
like
think
if you were like authentic and like super real about who are you right now, like and bring that type of like vulnerability in, like that's like I think just by kind of being able to word that out, you know, you'd find out a lot more about yourself, like, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, at the basic, regardless, like, saying who you are as a person, trying to explain. You know what, actually, shout out to Evan, hope you're watching. I had a great conversation, like, the very first time I ever met Evan was, like, through a mutual friend, and we were going to set up some soccer practice later. But I got his Snapchat, okay, and I didn't really know him that much. He goes to CU, and we're, I don't know, just trying to, like, get to know each other at the base of it. And he's like, tell me a little bit about yourself or whatever. And that was, like, I don't know why I took this so philosophically, but, like, I went in depth of, like, my morals, like, my values, like, who I am at my core, and, like, my drives, where I want to be, like, all these things that define me from my past. And I don't know why it was so in depth, but like he reciprocated that too, and it was just like one of the coolest experiences first meeting someone, because like I don't know, I never really expected that from myself, and it was just like instantly like so in depth. And I don't know, I mean, I think it's almost more important that we have that more often, like think more often on like who we really are, like at its base. And I think I don't know,
I think what you just mentioned, I never heard that story before, but that's like super cool, because I didn't know that's how you met our friend like Evan. But like I think that's just a testament to like how much you can get out of life for just being kind of vulnerable, like being 100% transparent.
That's so true.
And like that, just like that, it's like how many times have you had like an experience where like, okay, like you somebody asks you, who are you, what do you like to do, whatever, and you just say like the cliche like stuff like, okay, I do this, I play soccer, I do this. But like when someone asks you like, hey, who are you really, like what defines you, like what makes you you, and like the door that opens to somebody, it's like somebody who's actually being willing to be vulnerable and answer that question like at like exactly like how it is. Those conversations are exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
In this podcast.
Oh, yeah, for
so
sure.
like those are the conversations we typically have as well. Just like sitting back, just talking. It's like, look, we're always vulnerable with like each other.
Yeah.
And like we know like everything, pretty much like everything about each other. But that's what allows these conversations to be like so deep and being so like inspiring.
So I want to transition to our next one, paragraph 24, and let me read it out for you guys. Keep your feet firmly planted unless you want to fall on your face. Learn how to pace yourself if you want to go anywhere. Don't call attention to yourself if you want people to notice your work. Nobody respects people who always have excuses. Nobody gives credit to people who always take it. People who hype themselves have nothing else to offer.
So let's break that down into pieces.
Yes. So the way I think about this one, obviously, I feel like the theme of this one is humbleness. It's like just this exact point. Nobody respects people who always have excuses. Nobody gives credit to people who always take it. Like that whole thing is like, just kind of be humble. Yeah. But I think it has a deeper meaning, at least when I think about it. Right back to the know yourself. I feel like if you know yourself well enough and what you want and your drives, you don't really need like reassurance from other people. You don't need to be there to be like, hey, look at me, look at what I got, but look what I'm doing, because you feel more satisfied with how you're living your life and everything, that you don't need to make it a big deal. And I think there's something powerful about that. I think like just being humble in itself, like I definitely appreciate that value and try to like live that. But at the same time, like I think being humble has a lot more it's like a lot deeper than just that. It has to do with being okay with who you are and all that stuff. And it's not to say that we go through times like that. I've definitely been through my fair share of where I needed other people's approval to be happy almost.
Yeah,
but
that's we all do that. Like that's part of human nature.
It is, and I think we all can relate to that in some way. But yeah, I just think it's important going forward that we just kind of keep in mind that we're looking for happiness within ourselves. I think that's so important because as soon as we start like putting it into other things, I mean, you can to an extent, like let's say like, oh, I love soccer, like I find some happiness in soccer, like that's okay. But I think like at the end of the day, like you should be happy with life just because you are who you are.
100%. And like it's like once you know yourself, you're 100% like good with who you are too. One thing I got from this too is it's like apart from like being humble, is like also having like a backbone.
Yeah,
like,
like
exactly. knowing who you are, and like shout out to my mama because she always tells this to like her students. But like literally every time like a student like came in or something and they said, oh, like something happened or like somebody disapproved of me or something like that, like my mom would always say like, okay, who are you doing this for? Are you doing this for like your parents? Are you doing this for your best friend? Are you doing this for like your significant other or something?
Yeah.
But and then they usually say it's like, oh, I'm doing it for my parents. My parents wanted me to do this or whatever. And then they no longer like support me or like they didn't like approve or whatever. But like the thing my mom would always say is literally, okay, no, you have to be your number one supporter.
Yeah.
That's like that right there. I think is super valuable. It's like having that backbone and being like, not everybody's gonna cheer you on anything everything you do, but being able to have that backbone and being able to say like, hey, no, I'm doing this for myself. I'm not doing this for anybody else. I'm doing that purely for me, for myself, for my happiness, for my experience, like that's for totally my life.
True.
So
and at the end of the day, like what can tear you down with that mindset? Like nothing is able to like. I mean, of course you'll have your like times of emotion and everything, but that doesn't mean like you will, like you said, it's a backbone. Like nothing can tear you down if you do things. I mean, do things for yourself with like good intentions, like with good morals, like.
And that doesn't mean like be selfish.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't mean be selfish. That just means like follow your goals. Don't like have anyone else like put goals on you, like or like try to get you to act certain ways or whatever. Like
or like seek the approval of others.
I guess overall, like kind of what we've learned about this is a little bit more of understanding, like knowing who you are, understanding yourself. And
I think we got a title for this episode at least.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it Knowing Yourself. There we go.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's very not underappreciated. What am I trying? Like, it's not like undervalued. Like, yeah, that's the word. Because I don't know. It's very important. It's at the core of who you are, and I think knowing the core of who you are is so extremely important. Yeah, but with that, I think I don't know about you, but I think I came up with my 1% through that conversation.
Yeah, I came up with mine too. Like through that whole conversation, I got a 1% ready.
Yeah, and just to give like a very quick recap, 1% is an action towards a goal, and at the very end of all of our podcasts, we're gonna give ourselves 1% that we're gonna do to get closer to our own unique goals. And so, Alejandro, would you like to share your 1%?
Yeah, definitely. So the 1% I was thinking, I got it straight from this conversation, from one of the topics that we were talking about. The 1% I want to focus on, like this week as well, especially, is like being okay with like saying no when like in like certain projects, so if like taking on to like biting off way more than what you can chew. For me, often I was like, oh yeah, I can do that, I'll do that, and like being okay with sometimes saying like, hey, my schedule is way too busy. I'm dealing with some stuff. I got to finish some stuff before I do this. I can't do it. Or just kind of like something like that. Being okay with saying no. I think that's very important. And that's something I kind of thought about during this conversation. And that's a 1%. That's a goal I want to get better at. The 1%. I kind of already explained it. It's like I'm going to say no to like things I can't like actually do, or like I can't do very well, like if I don't spend as much time on it and whatnot. So that's gonna be my 1% for this week. You want to go ahead and explain yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think to better get closer to my goals of like trying to figure out my anxiety and work with it and try to get rid of it in the end. I think a good 1% for me will be to write down again 5 things. I did this last time, but to write down on paper 5 things answering the question, who am I, every single day.
That's a good one.
Because I think, like we were just talking about how important it is to know yourself, and I just said to your question of asking me if I know who am I, kind of, I don't really know, to be honest. Like I don't have a solid answer, and I think it's important to have a solid answer.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, that was a great 1%. I'm glad you shared that with us. And hey, so like we said, we're trying to build like this community of people, like we kind of explained in like this podcast here. And just like Camden, I want to challenge you guys. Like, I challenge you guys to like go home or like after this podcast or whatever, go ahead and like write like who are you, or at least think about it. Like who are you to like your core. And if you're feeling vulnerable enough, go ahead and share that with us at the Do Something Podcast, DoSomething.podcast Instagram. Go ahead and send us a follow as well. And yeah, do you want to kind of wrap this up here?
Yeah. So please do that. If not, and you think you have 1% that works better for you or whatever, like please let us know. We'd love to hear your 1% and everything, and how you're getting closer to your goals as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess thank you guys for tuning in. We don't quite have a teaser.
For our next episode.
The next episode.
Yeah.
We have some running ideas, but I mean, to be honest, we really would love to hear from you guys to see like where we should take it next. Whether you guys like this format, what topics to do. Really, like any feedback would be great.
Yeah, and by the time you're listening to this podcast, which is 3 weeks from like the initial launch date, hopefully if you've listened all of them in order, please let us know. Or like if this is your first podcast tuning in, we'd love to hear from you. Give us some feedback. Tell us how we're doing. And yeah, I mean, that kind of wraps it up. And
yeah, I mean, just don't forget to do something.
Yeah, I agree. Really, go ahead and do something.
Yeah. Peace.